welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do a video talking about a topic that I don't really think I've discussed much at length on my channel before, and that is apps, and specifically how I use particular apps to help me to live with my visual impairment and my disability on a daily basis. I love apps, and I think technology is one of the greatest inventions of the modern age, and specifically for people with disabilities, because it's opened so many doors for people who've got disabilities to be able to do everyday things. And for that reason, I really wanted to talk about apps that I use as someone with a visual impairment and a medical condition, and apps that I use for things in everyday life that just make my life a little bit more easier. Now, I just want to throw out a little disclaimer here. I am not a tech expert, so I can only speak for myself as a disabled person and as someone who lives with a visual impairment, and I can only tell you what I use and what works for me, and hopefully that might be helpful to some of you guys. And I also just want to say that I do use an iPhone. I'm not sure which apps are available on other smartphones, but I'll leave information about all the apps I mentioned in this video today, so you guys can find out if they are available on whatever smartphone that you use. I hope that clears that up for you guys, and I hope that you find this video useful. So what I first of all want to talk about before I get into the apps is what accessibility features that I use, because it's this big misconception that's always on the internet. Whenever I do a tweet or whenever I write a message and I've maybe been featured in a video about visual impairment, you always get some people who say either in a really just a curious way, and you also get people who are a little bit more derogatory when they say it, but you always get this question: how can you write text? How can you type? How can you read the screen when you've got a visual impairment, stroke when you're blind? There are lots of things that are enabled on all different kinds of technology to enable people who've got visual impairments to be able to read. So the great thing about Apple technology is that you can go straight into your accessibility features in general and change different features like font and text size and different things like that depending on what you need. So all you do is you go into general, and then you go into this feature called accessibility, and then you can see here you've got all these features which you can enable to change the way that your phone operates. So you've got voiceover, which I can use but I don't tend to use it because I don't really need to. I've got zoom, which I do use, which is where you double tap 3 fingers to zoom, and then I also have speech options enabled as well. So I have the option which is speak selection and speak screen. So they're different. So with speak selection, you basically highlight the text that you want it to speak out and it will speak it to you, and with speak screen you swipe down with 2 fingers and it will speak the screen to you. Speak screen. And then the last option that I have enabled is larger text, and you can basically enlarge the size of the font on your iPhone depending on what you need it to, so to very big to a lot smaller. If any of you were ever wondering how visually impaired people use Apple technology and how they do it if they can't see, or just accessibility features in general, maybe you're just curious, you can find it under general and in accessibility, so that's where you find it if you're interested. So now that I've covered that briefly, I now want to get on to talking about the apps. The first app I want to mention is actually WhatsApp. Now, it might sound weird because WhatsApp is pretty much a universal thing. Everybody uses WhatsApp, right? But the reason I like WhatsApp is because of a specific feature. Now, even though I can type, I can send text. As I've just mentioned, there are ways for visually impaired people to type and send text. There are some times when I don't want to have to try and type a text. I just literally just want to send a quick message, and it's just easier to do it when I'm on the go. So sometimes it's just easier to send a voice message. And the great thing about WhatsApp is it enables you to do that. So you can basically tap the little icon here, the little speak icon at the bottom, the little dictation one, and send a message to the person that you are talking to, and it's really easy to use, and it just basically means that you don't have to worry about typing text. Now I want to move on to my books folder. Now, every single app in this folder is relevant to me having a disability, because people who are visually impaired do actually read books. The first one I want to mention is Audible, and no, I'm not sponsored by Audible, but I love Audible because it's great if you have a visual impairment and you want to read books and you want to get the latest books available in audiobook. You don't just have to use audiobooks if you're visually impaired, but they are a lot more immersive, and I prefer audiobooks just because it makes it a lot more relaxing, it's a lot more enjoyable. You basically download the books from the website either with credits that you've got, or you can just buy them and then they're on your app like a library, and you can just listen to them as and when you want. And then the other one I use is Overdrive. Now Overdrive is an app that you can use as a free library service. So basically what you do is you download the Overdrive app, and then you can log into different library services. If you have a membership with a certain library and you want to sign up to that library, you can see if it's on the Overdrive app, and then you can just sign up and you can get ebooks downloaded to your app. You can get audiobooks as well. I'm with the Royal National Institute of Blind People's Library, and it's got loads of audiobooks that are released. It's a free service as well. They are always updating the service as well, and it's just great if you want to just listen to audiobooks and you want to borrow them like a library service. But there are loads of different libraries that are part of the Overdrive app now. And the last two on this folder I want to talk about is iBooks and Kindle. So they both work pretty similarly actually. They've both got very similar access features. Some books are available in Kindle, some books are available in iBooks, but as a whole I tend to use Kindle. And basically what I like to do with this is I download a book from the Amazon library, and then I can just read it with my access features. So remember the speak screen option that I talked about earlier. So basically all you do is you go on to the book that you're reading, and then you swipe 2 fingers down.
Involves giving movement in all sections to inanimate objects. At Hogwarts, the figures in portraits can move and speak, and angry letters shout at their recipients.
So you can see that's basically how it works, and it works the same way in iBooks. But then another feature that I find useful in the Kindle app is that you can increase the size of the text, you can change the colour contrast as well, so you can do a lot with it, and you can also change the brightness too. So there are a lot of features that are built into the app which you could customise if you have a disability that means you find reading print more difficult. And it's also available on other devices like tablets, and you can also get it on things like computers and MacBooks as well. The good thing about the iBooks app is that you can actually also add PDFs from your computer and you can add them to iBooks, and basically you can have it read out the document to you. So that's another good feature about iBooks. The next app I want to move on to is called Storecard. Now this is a free app, and you can basically add all of your store loyalty cards onto the one app, and you can then scan them in when you are shopping in a store. The reason I like this app so much is because having a visual impairment is so annoying trying to root through your purse when you've got a queue behind you trying to find your store card to scan it and get those points. And I can tell you more often than not I've not actually bothered doing it. I've been like, I'm not going to bother trying to get my card out, it's too busy and I can't see it, so I've actually missed out on money and points. But with this app you don't actually have to do that. You can basically just upload all of the cards you've got and you can scan them in with a barcode, and then you basically just use them as and when you want. There's loads of different store cards that are supported on this, so you've got Superdrug, you've got Boots, you've got all the main food chains like Morrison's, Waitrose, Nectar, all loads of different apps basically, and they're all on this one space, so it just makes it so much more easier and convenient. I then move on to the folder called Out and About. Now this has lots of different apps that I use when I'm on the go, so travel apps and also other miscellaneous apps that I use when I'm out and about. The first app I wanted to mention in this folder is called the National Rail app. This is an app which allows you to check train times for different train services around the UK. You can also plan your journeys as well. You can check which times the trains are going to be departing and arriving in certain stations. You can also check which platforms that the trains are going to be arriving on in the departure board section of the app as well. And it just makes things so much easier for me because of course I can ask someone. If it's later in the evening and there's no one to ask, or I'm in a rush, it's just easy to just check it on the app quickly and then know where I'm going and know which platform I need to be at, and then to just get there and go. Because the thing is, for me, I don't need help around certain stations. I know my way around London Bridge and Charing Cross and even some of the bigger ones like Waterloo and Victoria, but my thing is I can't physically see to know which platform the train is going to be arriving at, so I can't see the massive departure board at the top of stations. This is why I use this app, because I can check which train I need to get and I can check what platform it's going to be arriving at. So it makes life a little bit easier for me and just makes things a little bit more smoother when I'm travelling. The next app I wanted to mention is called Bus London, and it's basically an app which enables you to check what bus stops are closest to your location. You can also check what time the buses are going to be arriving there and where they're going to be going to, and it's really easy to use if you're trying to plan a journey. And also, as someone with a visual impairment, I can't see the bus numbers. It's really difficult to see them, especially if there's more than one coming, and I just use this app to check what time the bus is going to be arriving, just so I'm aware, so I can listen out for the bus when it's going to be arriving. Because contrary to what people might tell you, a guide dog cannot read the bus numbers. The next app I wanted to mention is the Tube Map app. Now this app is really good because it's basically a large map of all the different stations, and it shows you which lines they are accessible on and where you need to get them from. and you can change it to the night service and also to the rail service as well. And the other good thing about this as well is that you can zoom in and out depending on how large you need it. And of course you can download the tube maps from the TfL website in large print as well, but for me personally, I just find this a little bit more easy to use because I can zoom in. And it also shows you with these little icons here as well, these little wheelchair icons, which stations are step-free access as well, which is really, really good. So this is definitely an app I would recommend if you travel about in London and you use the tube. But this app provider also has them for Paris, Barcelona, New York and Berlin. The last app I wanted to mention in the out and about folder is the Wetherspoons app. This might sound so weird, but the reason I like this app so much is that when you arrive at your Wetherspoons of choice, you can log in your location so it knows which Wetherspoons you're at. You pop in the details of what table you're sitting at, so what number you're at, and then you look through the menu and you order your drinks and or food, and then you pay for it on the app, and then they bring it to your table. When I'm getting tipsy and I've got a visual impairment, the last thing I want to do is to try and get up out of my seat and go over to the counter and wait for someone to come and assist me and pay for my food and have to get my card out and have to try and read the menu or get someone to read it for me. No, I just want a good jolly old time, and this app basically means I don't have to worry about doing any of that. I don't have to worry about trying to navigate my way through tables and people getting drunk, and to get to the counter I can just sit back, relax, order my beverages and my food and just wait for it to come to me, and it's so much easier to use. So if, like me, you're partial to a little cheeky Wetherspoon session, this app is great because it's free, it's really easy to use, and I do not feel the slightest bit guilty about mentioning that one to you, so there you go, you're welcome. But the next apps are in a folder that I've actually labelled accessibility, and the reason is because I use these when things aren't accessible to me and I need to use an app to help me to do something like read something or to see the print of something. The first app I wanted to just mention is called Tiny Scanner. Now this is an app where you basically can scan in documents, but I use this all the time when I'm trying to read menus, when I am trying to send someone a copy of a receipt or a letter. I used it when I was in university and I had to read handouts. It's just a really easy app to use, and actually it's really clear. When you actually scan it in, you can see it's really clear, and it just uses the camera on your iPhone. It's a really good app. The final app that I wanted to mention for this video today is called Seeing Out. It's actually called Seeing AI, and it's basically an app that's been designed to help people with visual impairments to access the visual world and do day-to-day tasks. And by using the camera on your smartphone, it basically can distinguish lots of things and it can relay it back to you with audio cues. So for example, it can read back short text, it can read back documents, so things like a letter. It can also distinguish a product by scanning the barcode and it can tell you what it is. It can distinguish faces, it can also distinguish currency, it can tell what a scene is, it can distinguish colour, handwriting and also light as well. So let me show you, for example, some of the features. So say for example we'll go on to scene. So if I just hold it up to the camera, let's see if it can tell what it makes. A really weird noise, like a little song.
Probably a laptop computer sitting on top of a bookshelf.
Pretty close, there's a bookshelf behind it, so I'll let it off for that one. So you can also do things like it can tell colour, so let's get this and see if it can tell the colour.
Colour preview, green.
I also use the product button on this app. So say for instance I was at a shopping centre and I wanted to know a little bit more information about the product and I wasn't too sure about what one I wanted, or whatever reason, like if I couldn't see the print of something, I would just scan the barcode like so.
Processing. Jacob's Ice Gem 6X25G.
I don't use all of the features on this because I've got some vision left, so some of them aren't really applicable to me. They might be useful to you, and it definitely is a really worthwhile app getting, and it's really quick as well. Like, it really is quick to recognise text, and it's so quick and easy if you're out and about, and it just makes life so much easier if you've got a visual impairment, so I definitely recommend that one as well. So that concludes this video today talking about apps. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did as well. Let me know in the comments which apps you use to help you if you have a disability and which apps you find the most useful. I'd really love to know. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe to my channel, and also be sure to click the little notification bell so you see the notifications when I make new videos so you don't miss a moment of me. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!